Yeah, and thanks so much too for reaching out. And it's really nice hearing that you were listening to the pod on tour with Lee and all that. And
oh yeah,
that's very cool. That's like kind of the only thing that I actually value about doing this kind of podcast is like people actually in the scene listening to it. So that's really nice to hear.
I guess like listening to other people talk made me feel like less alone in my travels, like being like, oh, somebody else is also on a flight right now, like going across the country.
Yeah, no, that's nice. I never really thought about that. But yeah, I mean, pretty much all we do is like be alone on flights, right?
Yeah, a lot of introspection.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like that's one of those things that can go either way, because when I'm in a good mood or a good headspace, then it sort of feels like, then it's like fully just like main character syndrome shit where you're just like, I'm the coolest person doing this cool shit that nobody else is doing. It's me against the world. And then, yeah, when you're not feeling so great, then it's like, this is just torture that only I have to endure.
Yeah. Like sometimes you're like, oh, I'm being paid to like be on this flight right now. That's sick. And then the other time you're like, oh my God, something horrible just happened in my personal life. And I had to be like, put that on pause, get on a flight and think about it for 8 hours.
Right.
Like,
right. Yeah. And then go show up and pretend to be really stoked about everything. And
yeah. Then go jump up and down 400 times. Yeah.
Yeah. 400 at a minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's funny, you're just making me think now. Yeah, it's also, there's the dance of sort of going around meeting the promoters, the venue staff, all that kind of thing. And, you want to put on a good face. You want a good relationship with these people, and whatever's going on in your life, it's not their fault, but at the same time, it's still going on in your life. And that can be tough too.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like there's so many times I've walked away being like, oh man, I hope they didn't think I was an asshole because I was like really quiet or like really like put off to the side or whatever.
Yeah, the way I've sort of dealt with that over the years, because I'm fairly introverted, although it's gotten a lot better over the years, mostly thanks to this career. But for me, it's like I can really turn it on and be like an awesome to be around guy for about like 20 to 30 minutes. And then once I sort of feel like, okay, I'm petering out here, I've gotten pretty good at just being like, all right, this has been great. I'm just going to go relax before the show. Great to meet you. And just like cut it, hard cut.
Yeah, I do have like another personality or not another personality, I guess. But yeah, I'm also fairly like anxious and introverted. And then like the minute I get in like the festival walls or at the venue, it's like a different person that's like work mode. Like, hey, how's it going? My name is Gigi, like whatever, Right. And then, yeah, immediately exiting the doors. I'm like, I'm not talking to anybody for the next.
For sure. And at least for me, I don't know if you agree, but it's like when I'm doing that, when I'm in that mode, I am totally genuine. Like I am excited to talk to the people. It's great that we're all there doing it. I always have a good time, but it's just, I think some people have a smaller battery for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's fully like a version of me that like exists and is like a totally genuine version of me. Sometimes a more genuine version of me than when I'm like really tired and like kind of just don't want to interact. But
well, totally. I mean, yeah, I've said this on the podcast a lot, but I attribute a lot of my own sort of personal growth to this career and to being in the music scene, because I really did have to learn very quickly how to talk to a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life, people with backgrounds that wasn't my background, or, people with stories that wasn't my story. And all of that, I mean, I think it made me such a more well-rounded person just in like the human existing in the world sense, Oh
yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm the same way.
Are you from Orlando? Did I read that?
So no, I lived in Orlando for like 8 years, but I'm originally from a very, very small town in Georgia. Yeah, like town of like 900 people.
Oh, wow.
Like a few hours outside of Atlanta. So most of my early like music career stuff started in Orlando because there just wasn't a scene.
in the small
Georgia,
town.
yeah.
What age did you live in the small town, and then what age did you move to Orlando?
I lived in the small town from like the ages of like 0 to 21, and then I moved to Orlando when I was 21 and lived there for 8 years.
Okay, so you had,
yeah.
your whole childhood, adolescence, all that was in the small town.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Were you during that time, or I guess at what point during that time did you start getting into sort of the artistic persuasion in general? Like, because it wasn't music first for you, is that right?
No, it wasn't. It was definitely like I started out being an animator for like video game stuff. Like it was deemed like machinima online is like the word for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember the first time I remember really hearing about that in my circles was like when they were doing the do you remember the red versus blue like Halo animation stuff? I'm sure it existed long before that, but that's when I really remember being like, what is this? I
have like the DVDs of that somewhere.
Me too,
which is really? Hell yeah.
Yeah,
seasons 1 through 5 actually like really good storytelling, very good.
Yeah, and like the writing, the comedy was actually pretty good too.
Yeah, that shit is so cool. And I was doing that stuff and like Halo and like Team Fortress 2 and like Gary's mod, and then that led me into like doing not full-time character animation, but I was getting hired to do like character animation. And then I was in like a community of that was like, hey, we need music for our shorts, because there were a lot of competitions where everybody had to make like every single piece of it. It couldn't be like sampled music or like music taken from a library or something. It had to be like created for it. And then that's when I was like, okay, let's like kind of open the doors on like seeing what music holds for me. And then it just kind of like immediately took over every other artistic endeavor for me.
Right. Well, I can imagine, if you're doing high level animation stuff, there's so much overlap with music production as far as just, how the software looks and works and like the workflows.
Yeah, I think that's what brought me to FL Studio, is because it's so much like Sony Vegas. Like when you edit the playlist modes, it's like very just makes sense to my brain.
Okay, that's interesting. Both of those pieces of software I, of course, know about, but I barely used either one.
Yeah, Ableton is a little more foreign to me in terms of how it looks and how it sorts things, but like it's very simple for my like, I feel like people don't really ever lose the like the first creative software you use will always be like kind of in the forefront of your mind somewhere, of being like, this is how it's supposed to be structured.
Yeah.
So I feel like I permanently have like Sony Vegas brain.
Yeah, that's fair. I went to school for like audio engineering kind of stuff. And so I learned Pro Tools before I learned anything else. And then for like the first couple of years, I was really, really trying to like make music in Pro Tools, which is for EDM stuff is horrible. Wouldn't recommend to anybody. They don't even build functionality to do it. It was just a disaster. And then I moved to Ableton, and like, yeah, that one just clicked for me. I feel like I fucked around in Logic for a second, and that was too complex for me. And like audio editors like, Cool Wave Pro and Audacity and all that. I did a lot of stuff for that for the day job I had at the time. But yeah, I feel you're right. I think once you lock in with your main one, it kind of wires your brain and you can't unwire it,
Yeah, for sure. I definitely I've tried to make music in like software that didn't even have like quantized like BPMs, right? Because it was like Sony Vegas, me trying to like put sounds together and like make it work somehow, which doesn't work at all. Because I like came at it from such a like, I don't know what BPM is. I don't know what keys are. I don't know anything. Like I'm just throwing sounds and compiling them the same way I would when like doing sound effects for like a video or something.
That's really interesting. That's got to play in some part of why your music sounds the way it does even now, right?
Maybe. It totally could. I do think I don't think about music in the way that like somebody who is like more like music is my thing and it's always been my thing has been. I think I have a lot of creativity like that goes in multimedia directions, I think that will always influence my art much more than, like I talk to people that I'm like, very clearly you started at a young age being like, I'm going to learn music. And then for me, it was just like, music is just another creative outlet to express myself that just happened to become my main one.
Right.
But it could also change in the future. Like, I mean, if music didn't work out for some reason, like, I think I would be totally comfortable being like, okay, back to animating or like back to drawing or like whatever.
Yeah, no. And I think that's a healthy way to be too, because then it makes the lines a little less blurry between art and creativity and business, right? Where if like your entire financial stability is tied up in the one thing, and if that goes away, so does your financial stability, then it really becomes a different kind of proposition of like, well, I can't necessarily just chase whatever I think is the coolest thing without all these other considerations, right?
Yeah. I mean, I made a lot of my like side money. I haven't done this in a while, but like I made a lot of my side money while touring and like doing shows by making the other DJs in my scenes like visual packages and their cover art and stuff like that. That was like a good way for me to meet people and also for me to be involved in their creative process as well.
That's super cool. Yeah. And I think people outside the scene, just fans or whatever, don't always have the view of how often that happens in our scene too. Like everyone is doing side work of some kind or another, and oftentimes for somebody else in the scene, Like, it's one of those things that I actually kind of love, that, we're all sort of helping each other out and paying each other when we can and all that. But, it does sort of break the illusion that we're all famous rock stars,
Yeah. I definitely, this is a single person house. I definitely don't have any roommates. It's not an apartment. It's a mansion.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I do particularly remember one EDC, like 2022. I was just there as like I played the year before, or no, not 2022, 2023. I had played in 2021, didn't go 2022, but I went 2023 just because I had made so many visuals for people. So, I was looking from the artist area, like down, and I'm like, I could just see like the Wasteland stage and be like, oh yeah, there it is again. There it is again. There it is. Like, it was a very cool experience, honestly.
No, that's so cool. And I mean, it's a thing I talk about probably too much on this podcast, but it's like that to me, that's the whole point, is like, you are materially participating in this overall thing and contributing in more than one way. And you can get fulfillment from it in so many different ways. I guess that's the point to me, is like, it's how I've kind of ended up looking at this podcast too, which when I started doing it, I had this whole vision for what it was going to be and how it was going to be received and what the audience would be and all that. And of course, almost 10 years down the line, it's completely different. I was wrong about like almost everything I thought it was going to be, but it's turned into this whole other thing that's so cool and fulfilling, and has, made real friendships in my life and valuable connections and all that. And I think that's kind of the point of like anything that anyone does in this scene, is it's really about just being there and contributing,
Yeah, for sure. It's also like easy to talk shop with people backstage and stuff like that, where it's like, you're just talking about what you do individually, and they're like, oh, I really like your visuals, and then I'm like, oh yeah, thanks. Like, I make them on the side and stuff like that, and then they're immediately like, oh shit, I need some. Like, let's do it that way. So it just kind of happens in a really organic way, which I found is pretty cool. And also a lot. It's like, I feel like the reason I got into EDM in particular is kind of because of the fact that there's like a big screen behind you a lot of times.
Oh, that's interesting.
And because to me, like, the marriage between like music and visuals is like the most beautiful thing in art to me. Like, when I was making videos, I would always want it to be a music video. Same with me, like starting Water Spirit. I was like, the idea of Water Spirit is for there to be like a visual component that I also create.
Let me ask you this, because you just made me realize you would probably be a good person to ask this. So a conversation I've had quite a lot over the years is about how the big screens have become more and more centered and more like a requirement of EDM. And, you know, I think there's pluses and minuses to sort of the current model of it. Is there anything you've seen, or maybe even just something you're thinking about in terms of incorporating visuals into a set that you find particularly like interesting or exciting? Either something you're thinking about or something someone's doing that maybe breaks the sort of model of just like, you can't even see the DJ and it's just a giant screen and everyone just kind of watches the movie at the festival, you know?
I mean, 100%. I think one of the coolest visual experiences I've ever seen was Madion's Good Faith tour, because he incorporates that floating into the sky thing, and he incorporates the fact that his silhouette on the stage interacts with the visuals, and it's like the most beautiful colors and just like the most rapid, like in your face visuals to this like pretty incredible music. And it's fucking awesome. And same with like I saw him perform for a couple of days at Second Sky along with Porter Robinson's Nurtured stuff, and that was also like a lot of incorporation of like crowd and history of his project, and a lot of like kind of RT camera stuff where the camera is pointed at him a certain way and then it's projected back on the screen to make it seem like he's like hanging from the top or something. Like, it's all really cool. I think Porter's like World project was probably the first time that I was like, oh, EDM visuals can be like the coolest thing.
Yeah, that's okay. So you're connecting something in my brain now, because you're right. The Madian show is, no one's touching that. And you're right that really it's the best one. And it's making me think too, maybe the secret right now, it's probably not the secret forever, but like the secret right now is incorporating some kind of live element into what's happening on the screen as well. Like, because Madian, you know, like you said, he's lifting up into the visuals. Porter's taking the video of himself, remapping it so it looks like something else is happening. I don't know if you know the band Turnstile. I've been a fan of theirs for a while, but I saw them recently on their last tour, which is like, you know, 10 times bigger than any tour they've done before. And they're clearly like figuring out in real time how to be like a really famous band and have like more production than just like a bunch of kids stage diving. And one thing they were doing was they had the screen, and most of the time the screen was, they just had people with like handheld cameras in the crowd, and it was like showing the crowd back to themselves. And in a really interesting kind of like heartwarming way of focusing on certain individuals for a while. There were like little mini narratives in the crowd that you could kind of follow, all with this sort of like shaky handheld, you know, like almost VHS aesthetic. And it was like, it added this really interesting human component to it while still being a giant screen that we were all looking at. Yeah, I think there's something to that. That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I also think that like the best types of shows in terms of visual aspect is not so much that the visuals overtake, like, even though I'm a huge fan of visuals, I'm not necessarily a big fan of like seeing a crowd that's entirely like filming it. But because the visuals are overtaking kind of the musical and dancing aspect of all of it. Yeah, stuff like that where it incorporates the crowd in a way that makes you want to move and makes you want to be in awe of the situation, while not wanting to put your phone up and be like, look how crazy this is. You know, I think rap shows, honestly, like being in Atlanta and like attending a lot of rap shows when I was younger, I think kind of like forged that in my brain in a way, because a lot of rap shows are just like, if there is a camera, the camera is just on stage with the performer. Yeah. And then it's just getting fed back to a big screen, and then the crowd will want to move if the camera is like pointed at them and stuff like that.
Were there any particularly memorable rap shows you saw in Atlanta back in the day?
Oh, yeah. The old Masquerade is like one of the best venues I've ever been to.
I've been there, yeah. Shout out to the Masquerade.
Yeah, just because there were 3 floors of music, so you could hear the music below you, like fucking breaking the floor almost, and you're like, oh, we might die tonight.
Yeah, maybe not up to code, but the vibes were high.
Yeah, I think the Earl Sweatshirt tour, there weren't any visuals of that show, but I think that tour was so fucking cool. It was the I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside tour. And that album, while being like one of the most depressing rap albums of all time, like the show was incredible. And it was right after Kendrick Lamar's like To Pimp a Butterfly release. So the opening DJ played like We're Gonna Be All Right. Like, and that was my first experience of being in like a proper push pit of all these people like screaming We're Gonna Be All Right. And I think that was like one of the coolest like music moments for me, where there's like so much energy here. And like, while it's like maybe corny a little bit, it's also like just cool that it's like a positive thing. Like everybody's screaming like such a positive message 100%. In a way that connects with like the youth too. Like
100%. I don't think that's corny at all. That's like right up my alley, and kind of goes, I mean, it's like a hardcore punk ethos too of, you know, we're all trying to take care of each other and trying to make shit better in our own lives, but also, you know, it feels good to jump around and to push people. And like, there is this energy that needs to get out. I mean, you know, I'm not saying something people haven't analyzed a million times, but like, yeah, when it's centered around a positive message or idea, or even just an idea of like solidarity, yeah, I think it's so powerful. I don't know. Yeah. To me, that's not corny at all. Like, I wish we had more of that.
I think any form of like physicality in terms of dancing or mosh pits or like just, you know, even like hate moshing in some degree is like, that's what concerts are for. It's for you to like walk out and feel like you just left everything on that dance floor, like as an attendee. And there are plenty of times where I've just gone to clubs and vibed to music, and it's like great too. And there are certainly types of music that I enjoy in that kind of genre too. But I think my most formative experiences are kind of being a socially awkward kid, but then being forced to move in this giant crowd that like isn't giving me an option not to be in the mosh pit. Like they're pushing me.
Yeah, you know? Totally. And I think even beyond that, it's also an excuse to just be a weird kid if that's what you feel like being. You know, it's at least for me, a lot of my early rave memories and like concert metal show memories too is kind of just like there were so many other people acting weird that I was like, oh, well, if I act weird, I'm not even going to be the top 10 weirdest person here, so I can do whatever I want. And, you know, that's extremely freeing for like, I mean, it's still freeing for me today as an adult man, but as a kid figuring shit out, I mean, there was like nothing better.
Yeah, I mean, these days, like I'm not like the youngest person anymore. Like I'm a, you know, a full adult these days. So like I do get to a point in moshing where I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna take like a step back a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, it's been like really refreshing. I think it taught me a lot about like being a person outside of living with my parents, because being in a small town, it's like I would just stay inside all the time. And there's a certain thing there's a certain type that you always present to your parents, which for me was always the super shy kid that's just creating in a room or whatever. And then being able to go to concerts and have another side of me forced out that is like somebody who will like, you know, jump off of a stage or like get pushed around or like whatever. Like that was like kind of like an aha moment for me where I was like, okay, there's something more here than just this like quiet kid.
Totally. Yeah. And yeah, it's that kind of growth, even if it's uncomfortable sometimes, where I don't know, the older I get, the more I realize it's the classic cliche of like, you know, really life is just about connecting with other people and putting yourself out in the world and, you know, trying to achieve happiness and help others achieve happiness, all the very standard tropes. But you're right. I mean, when I was young too, it was really getting pushed into that world that made those thoughts start kind of growing in my mind at all, you know? And had I not done that, yeah, my life would probably be very, very different and would definitely be like a smaller life, you know?
As a kid, I was like so anxious all the time that I couldn't like order McDonald's in a drive-through. Like, oh, wow. I fully could not communicate with other people outside of people that were either my best friends at school or my parents. And I was terrified of everybody because I have like really hardcore like OCD and like anxiety problems and stuff like that. And music and wanting to do music was kind of the only thing I cared enough about to be like, I am willing to embarrass myself in front of people to achieve this. And I'm willing to Like I used to think anytime that like I got in a car or a plane or something that it would crash, like no matter what. I used to be like that kind of level of like anxiety.
Right.
And then music was kind of the only thing where it's like, well, if I die, I was doing what I wanted to. So,
right,
you know.
right. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. It doesn't convince you it's not going to happen, but it's like,
right.
it might be worth it.
But it weighs out where I'm like, I'm willing to risk it for this.
Right.
Sure.
No, I mean, that's amazing. And I have to imagine, as far as like the nature nurture angle to it too, I mean, I'm sure growing up in a tiny town, having, interest outside of the mainstream, that's a tough situation for any kid. Was there anyone around who encouraged you or even like had any of the same vibes, or is that pretty much just why you stayed inside?
Yeah. I mean, thankfully, I grew up in a time where the internet was very accessible for me. And like, I would be on Skype all the time, like talking to other creative people and doing that. But in terms of like actual people around me that did similar stuff, I had my friends that played video games and that was it. Like they didn't do creative stuff or like, I would show it to them and they're like, oh, cool. Nice. Right, and I'm like, all right. Yeah. Fair.
I mean, it's doubly impressive then that you've gotten to where you are, because I mean, that I think really shows what the internal drive and the internal passion for it must be. Because, I think it's much more common to hear the story of like, oh, well, this one person really encouraged me, or, this one mentor or whatever. I'm sure eventually you found that online community for it, but it's still impressive,
There were certainly people that like kind of saw how I was doing socially and were like, one of my first creative friends was this guy named Cosmic Osmo who like did, he does like kind of these like chiptune future based songs on SoundCloud.
Oh, cool.
And that's what I started out doing, was like very cutesy music. And he was like, he's a little bit older than me. And he was like, listen, you gotta get out of your town. It was like, for a minute, you should come to Orlando and stay with me for like a week and like see if you like it. And then me doing that led to me getting like my first show, which caused me to go back to Orlando, and I would take like this 8-hour bus like almost twice a month to go to Orlando and then like hang out with people or perform.
Wow.
And then I just moved there because I was like, well, I'm here anyways.
Yeah, sure. And people there, and there's maybe the start of a little community. So did you, just so I get the timeline straight, when you moved to Orlando, were you already making music as Water Spirit?
Yeah, I had started Water Spirit when I was probably about 19 or 20. And then I moved when I was 21. But like I said, it was like a long learning curve for me because I didn't know any typical music knowledge. I didn't know what BPM was. I didn't know about chords. I didn't know about sounds or like anything.
Were you passionate about music at the time? Like listening to music, fan of music?
So I think what the coolest part about me being an animator is when you're animating, especially doing character animation, all you have is time to listen to shit. So I was just ingesting so much music at that time. And yeah, I think I found so many artists that I was just wowed by that I was like, okay, I want to do this,
Yeah. I mean, what kind of stuff were you listening to? Was it hard dance or was it more just all over the place?
There was a lot of early Anger Fist I was listening to at the time. But then also I had like kind of a dual situation where I like really chill, like hip hop beats and like music that you wouldn't really expect. And like Water Spirit started out as like an ambient project where I was just going to do no drums, and now it's all drums, ironically.
right. You kind of flipped it there.
Yeah, like a huge person for me was this guy named Slow Magic who like makes these like chill wave stuff and then like plays drums on top of it. And that was the first concert I ever went to as like a person being like, like my parents took me to like a Rascal Flatts concert when I was like 14.
Right.
But the first concert I actually went to and was like, I'm going to this, like I'm choosing to go to this, was Slow Magic in Georgia.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I know Slow Magic. I mean, Slow Magic is great.
Yeah, we're like mutuals online now.
Nice.
He sends me merch and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
like you have no idea how much you mean to me, but like,
but that's the way it should be. That's so cool. And I mean, honestly, I can I think part of the reason why I like your music is because you can hear those other influences too. And it does feel unique in the world of hard dance, where I think hard dance gets unfairly stereotyped for a lot of reasons, but there's sort of like the seed of the stereotype. Yeah, it's kind of true that a lot of it, there's musical similarities in a lot of the music. That's a bad way to put it, but you know what I mean. And your music, I think, stands out just because you can kind of hear those little hybrid touches, probably those influences from other places that, I don't know, whether it's like the melodic sensibility or just the fact that I think you're very versatile and sort of make music in all the little corners of the genre. Where do you see yourself fitting in that? I mean, or do you even think about that as far as like, where does the music that I make with this project land in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, to me, there's not too much forethought in terms of like, okay, this is kind of the song I'm going to create. Like, I know when I just make 1,000 work in progresses, and then I will eventually get to one where I'm like, okay, this is going to end up being a Water Spirit song. And then by the time I'm done with it, if somebody's like, hey, what did you do to this song to make it this way? I'm like, oh God, I don't know. I've been like tweaking in front of my computer for like 3 days. Like, like I have no clue. But I do think that I do get really happy when I can work in other influences, that I can like kind of do something different in the genre, because I love hard dance and raw style and hard style. But you're right. There is like kind of a little bit of a problem with it, where it's always that kind of like, we're going to go to war. And my gun is kick drums or something. Right.
Yeah, it's like this aggro thing where, which I don't mind, but it's like, it's just kind of this one note, one vibe kind of thing.
Yeah, which can be super fun, but also I think, growing up in the hyperpop community and in like the future bass space has also led me to want to work in like cuter pop elements, or, do a kick that's like really weird, or, there's a lot of like queer gabber music out there that's influenced a lot of what I do too.
Yeah, that's a really interesting space, that the intersection of like queer music and hard dance music, which I'm probably not educated enough to like talk authoritatively about that intersection, that space, but like, it's so interesting to me where the two meet, because I think that's generally where some of the most exciting stuff is made.
Yeah, it's so bizarre how like horseshoed it is, where on one side of it, it's like guys that are like super ripped and it's their workout music. And then you have these like very online like trans women in New York that DJ it for 8 hours and it's the same music.
Right.
And often the kind of style like crosses over. Like workout guys will listen to like the cutest hard style, and then trans girls will listen to like the most aggressive hard style. So it's like, I'm like, it's really cool for me as a person, like to exist within both spaces and also have so many friends on both sides of the coin. Like, being friends with Lil Texas and all of his people, like DeadX and Yosef and all those guys are all like kind of bigger workout dudes. And then also being on the side of like hyperpop music and, people that are like really into underscores and chain remover and all those cats, but they're DJing like Gabber in New York and showing up to those events and stuff like that.
I mean, do you think like the American hard dance scene is that kind of intersectionality or horseshoe or whatever we want to call it, is that unique to the American scene?
I feel like a lot of it is everywhere, because there are labels in Germany and stuff like that. I'm not particularly sure if it's Germany, but it's one of those countries around there that does like casual gabbers and like all these other kind of more like left field hard dance genres and stuff like that can still be very queer and very alternative. And then you have the more mainstream side on the Dutch side that is like, like DEF CON music.
Because, I think of, when I think of European hard dance, there's definitely a longer history there, but I do categorize it mainly on the like workout dude side, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah,
a lot of that is very like Australian as well. Like,
true.
They have a massive culture for that. That's very sick, but also, and then Germany also has like a very queer club scene, like constantly that's pushing hard techno all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's so cool to me. I was thinking about this, getting ready for this chat too, was like, I feel like hard dance, at least in America, is one of the only genres left that is both on the, you know, the mainstream festivals. Like you can go to EDC and there's a whole stage for it, but is also still in the fetish clubs and still in the underground. And I feel like a lot of other genres, there was sort of a schism along the way where either you make the mainstream EDC version or you make the underground version, but like it's just, they never meet back up, you know? Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I think hard dance is like one of the only ones left, at least in the States, that sort of does both.
Yeah, I think hard dance in America is very interesting. And I do like how typically the sides aren't exclusive either. Like you will see in America, like mainstream DJs play all these like kind of weird club songs that you would expect at fetish clubs. And then also you hear the same thing when you're at the fetish clubs, you hear like the mainstream hard style get mixed in there as well. And I like that there's a mutual appreciation between both camps, and it's not like this is the hard style that we make and this is the hard style that we make, or this is the hard techno or whatever. Yeah, I do think America is constantly in a little bit of an identity crisis a lot of times when it comes to hard dance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I would have agreed. Even if you hadn't said and hard dance, I would have agreed.
Yeah. All of it's an identity crisis, but especially for hard dance, you know, I think when I was coming into the festival scene, a lot of the festival DJs and a lot of the agents and managers are always like, okay, this is the year that hardstyle takes over in America. You know, this is our year. And you hear that every single year.
Yeah.
And then ironically, like the thing that's been the biggest here is like hard techno. It's certainly taken over the LA after party scene, like a ton.
Yeah.
And, yeah, like my agents and stuff like that have expressed very clearly to like the team that it's like, you know, this is the biggest hard dance thing we've ever seen happen with the kind of viralness of hard techno right now.
Does that affect your creative path at all? Like thinking about, you know, what's trending?
I mean, I never want to be an artist that I'm like, oh, I'm particularly trying to make the coolest and trendiest thing right now. But for me, I love like hard dance for a lot of reasons. It's like the kick drum sound design and the momentum of the song. It's like the physical speed of it. Yeah, when I'm like, oh, hard techno's getting big now, and then I listen to a lot of like trance music, I'm like, oh, this is sick. Like I totally want to make this. Like this is tight too. Like I don't really care as long as it has like a loud kick drum that's distorted. Like I'll be there.
Yeah.
You know?
I was reading an interview, I don't know from where or when, probably years ago, of yours, that you said something I really liked, that one positive note about the hard dance scene being smaller than some other scenes is that it's easier to get involved, and that it still is able to be kind of this like scrappy punk DIY underdog, even as it's blowing up. Do you still feel that way? Do you still feel like it's a small world once you get past the curtain?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, I think something that's kind of altered my opinion a little bit is just like how big some of these hard techno after parties are in LA. And they're like every night it's just like sold out to maximum capacity in a warehouse that's, you know, clearly like illegal. The rig might get shut down. It might not. And that's definitely like, I've gone there and I've been like, oh, this is like not the hard dance community. This is like something different entirely, which is still really cool. Like I'm still super down to hang out and engage in that. But I do think that hard dance in general has always been a bit of I guess not like lower barrier of entry, but like there's just less going on in it. So the individual voices get highlighted much more. You know, it's very easy for me to like go around the world and like see the same people all the time, because it's like, yeah, there's not that many of us actually like that actually do it.
Yeah, well, and I think that's just a great note for anybody coming up who feels like maybe the music they're making isn't, fully in the zeitgeist or fully on trend or whatever you want to call it. Is that can be an advantage too, right? That then you have more power to affect how the thing you're excited about is going to be received, how it's going to be shaped, the people who you work with, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, I just thought that was a really nice way to look at it, a really nice note, because I think it's true. It gives you power in a sense.
Yeah, and also is like all the hard dance guys are so easy to talk to, even as a fan. Like I know Lil Texas kind of instilled this early on because he was kind of he became, I guess if I did have like a mentor for a time, like he was definitely the person that like got me in the gates of art style.
Yeah. He's an interesting dude. I know him as well. Yeah. I like him.
He was the one that was like, hey, come make my live visual sets. Hey, make my promo stuff. And also, hey, I really fuck with your music. Like, let me put it in mixes. Let me introduce you to people. Let me get you on these Insomniac lineups. He did so much for me. And still does to this day. Like, he's an awesome dude. And also, yeah, very interesting man as well. Very
absolutely.
If there was ever like a machine for touring, it's him. He was made to do this.
He was absolutely made for it. I mean, I say this extremely lovingly, but yeah, total maniac, Yeah,
I mean, he's the best type of maniac. I love that man.
No, I love him too. He's great.
Yeah. Also not scared to say anything to you. He's just like, oh yeah, like if you send him a work in progress and he's just like, I don't like this kick. And I'm like, fair enough. Let's get it out of there.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that too. The other person I've always known who's like that is Johns. I don't know if you ever met Johns, but yeah, that he's very quick to be like, yeah, this sucks. Let's do something else.
I'm like, you know what? I was thinking that in the back of my mind too. Let's go.
Well, yeah, and it's refreshing in a world where I think we're all afraid to like say a critical word just because everyone's in a constant state of fragility about their own art, Mm-hmm. Which is understandable, but like then, yeah, sometimes the honesty is just like, oh yeah, this does make it a lot easier to like make creative decisions.
Yeah, I think Lil Texas early on was like very pushing, like, and still is, that he responds to everybody. He will say what's up to everybody. He is like so personable and so easy to talk to with fans and stuff like that. And I feel like the hard dance community as a whole is pretty geared towards that. Like if somebody comes up to me at a show and is like, oh my God, I really loved your set. And then, we start talking and then they're like, I also make music. It's like, cool, send it to me. Like, let's get you in the door of like whatever this is. Because getting into EDM and festival stuff is like kind of this like brick wall in a lot of ways where it's really hard to get yourself in. Once you're in, you can go around a lot easier. But getting in that initial first festival booking is really difficult.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a brick wall and it's also like a hidden pathway obscured by, 4 different secret handshakes and 5 keys you have to travel to find. It's a bizarre thing that really there's no one way to do it. I mean, that's actually interesting. How did you get in there in the first place? Like once you sort of moved to Orlando and saw renewed interest in what you were doing, was it sort of a steady path towards where you are now, or was there something that really accelerated it at some point?
It was definitely something that I like kind of obsessed over. And it's a bit of a long story for me, but like, so as like I'm very open about this, but like when I first started EDM, there weren't a lot of like trans women on lineups at all, really. I would look back at them and I would be like all the lineups, and I would be like, oh my God, the only person that gets booked for festivals in America is like Sophie and Honey Dijon, which is like 2 legends. And it's like, yeah, that's so scary to look at that and be like, oh, you have to be like Sophie. Like,
right.
Oh my God, that's like being like the best.
Yeah. That's like the scariest form of representation is like, you can do it, but you also have to be the best whoever did it.
Yeah, you can do it. You just have to be Lady Gaga.
Right,
it's like,
right,
no,
exactly.
I don't know if I can do that. And also they don't really make like there's a ton of rave influence in both of those artists' stuff, but it's not typical rave music. It's not like true to the core like EDM.
Right.
And I was like, oh God, I don't know if I'm going to be able to be successful and be out about who I was. So for a long time, I was just like, Water Spirit was like not actually me. It was like me. I'm like, oh, I'm a guy, haha, like, or whatever.
Right.
But then my friends were like, this is ridiculous. This is like the dumbest thing. Like, you should just be yourself and see where it goes. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I was kind of bouncing around genres a lot. I knew what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to get to that level where I could produce a visual show on a big screen and then bring the sound to people and make that like a full immersive experience. For a while, the genre didn't really matter that much to me. I was like, oh, well, I like a lot of stuff. I love gabber. I love hardcore, like internet music. I love future-based music. Massive Porter fan, massive Flume fan. I was just like, okay, well, how am I going to, there's 1,000 internet producers that are constantly doing things. They're constantly making the most incredible music you've ever heard. How are you possibly ever going to stand out? And my way of standing out was to engage in my local community way more than anybody else. Like, I'm going to go to like every show. I'm going to say what's up to everybody. I'm going to like produce this genre of music that's very, very eye-catching and very cool. I think I was really lucky in a lot of ways that I made a hardstyle remix for Lil Texas before he was doing hardcore.
Oh, that's interesting.
Then, yeah, he had already made all of the new Lil Texas stuff that was hardcore, but none of it was out. So when I made that remix for him, he was like, oh, check out what I'm making. And I'm like, oh, shit, this is wild. And then, you know, like, a week after that, it's like Marshmello was playing I Am Excited on tour and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, he just like did that. That's crazy. And then, you know, I was friends with him and talking to him a lot. And I was talking to him about like, hey, do you think there's room for somebody like me? Like, or do you think that my identity could possibly box me out of doing this? And he was like, no, dude, like, be yourself. That's stupid. And ever since then, you know, he got me linked up with a manager and everything else. And so I'm very thankful for him for kind of like allowing me to view it from a different lens. Cause for a while I was like, oh, this is impossible. Like, my life goal was to play like one festival.
Right.
And then, you know, COVID happened and a lot of the artists that were Dutch for the hardstyle stages all of a sudden couldn't come play EDC. And I had been releasing with BassCon and they were like, come play EDC. And I was like, okay, great. Yeah. Cool. That's how it started for me.
That's so cool. I mean, on multiple dimensions, one lesson is just that you were working really hard for a really long period of time. And then when the window of opportunity opened up, you were ready for it. But it's, also, I think, a very key note that like when it starts to take off is also when you're doing it as an authentic version of yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just a beautiful story and it's a beautiful lesson. I mean, when you had those concerns about, you know, presenting yourself just authentically on stage, were you out of the closet more or less in other parts of your life?
Yeah. So I had been like, you know, like kind of open as being trans for like a really long time before I ever even like, okay, well, it wasn't before I started DJing, but it was like kind of in the middle of all that where like I was just starting to DJ local clubs in Orlando. And I was slowly like microdosing, like kind of injecting my identity while doing that. A lot of times I feel so there are incredible trans women that make incredible EDM. Some of the best EDM I've ever heard is from some trans girl that doesn't go outside, that lives in like Oregon or something. Right. I don't know. And when you talk to them, they're like, oh yeah, this is fun, but I don't think I'm ever going to do like physical concerts or something like that. And when I ask why, it's because they like think that like the rest of the world hates them. They're like, oh, if I go out here, like all these people are going to judge me for being trans. They're going to be so awful to me, because the internet is pretty awful for trans people a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
I think one of the most refreshing things ever for me was finding out that like in real life, no one gives a shit. Like no one cares. Like nobody at festivals has ever really treated me weird. They might ask like a weird question sometimes, but it's genuine. Like they just genuinely want to know. They're not being an asshole. Everybody's just like, yeah, I don't care. You make cool music, like go perform it. like, who gives a shit? So I think me microdosing it in Orlando and finding out that, like, yeah, they don't care. Like, no one cares. I can go and look like this and then talk on the mic and have my deep ass voice, and like, no one's like, what the fuck? They're just like, oh yeah, that's water spirit.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's beautiful. And I'm glad you had that experience, because yeah, there's definitely a huge divide between IRL and URL surrounding trans issues, surrounding music scenes, everything. It's different worlds. But, I mean, the times we're living in now, I think it's scary for a trans person anywhere in the country.
Oh, yeah. It's become a lot worse, which sucks.
Yeah, it sucks quite a lot. And I mean, I almost don't want to ask, because it's just like leading down a shitty road. But I mean, have you noticed that going around the country touring?
In real life, not at all. Everybody's
That's
super
good.
Cool with me. If I can survive in Florida, I can survive anywhere. And everybody's been super sweet to me, and no one's I've thankfully never had an issue where somebody's like being weird about my identity.
Good.
Online is a completely different story. Like, I can post like a picture of myself and it's like, I just get like death threats. Or just the most bizarre stuff from people. I'm like, I don't even know if you're like a real person, because you comment 200 times a day. Like,
I mean, half of them aren't.
Yeah, I'm
people,
like, this has to be a bot, right? So like, I don't know.
Yeah, the bots are crazy right now. Also, the brain rot is crazy right now. But that is, I mean, I'm really glad to hear you say that in real life you haven't seen it as much. That's good to hear. And I'm glad just that you haven't had to deal with that shit anyway. I mean, what's the vibe in Orlando generally? Because I mean, all apologies to Orlando, but like, I've never lived there, but every time I go there, I'm like, I just don't, what's the appeal? As a guy who doesn't really care about Disney, I'm like, what else do you do there?
I mean, I think for me as a kid, I hadn't been to other cities really. Like, I'd really only been in my small town. So going to Orlando for the first time by myself, like getting on a plane the first time and then seeing like at night, like the fireworks from around different theme parks while you're driving around, or like just like the lights on the buildings and stuff like that. Like, to me, I was like, oh my God, this place is amazing. I'm also not like a massive theme park person. Like, I enjoy them. I enjoy an immersive experience and like creative people doing a creative thing. But Orlando is just like kind of a chill city to live in. I honestly like only have good things to say about it. There have been like, I guess with like small southern, or not small southern places, but like southern places that are a little less connected from like what would be considered like the big city, either LA, New York, or somewhere around that area. There is a bit of like a collective sadness maybe that comes out at bars, where they're like, oh man, I see this person from high school that I lived next to that comes to the same bar as me, because we all grew up in Orlando. But as a person that moved there, I'm like, I don't know any of you guys. This is great. I'm having a great time. Like, yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, there is that thing of just like, never left the town, never going to leave the town.
Yeah,
this is just going to be my life. And I don't want to like stereotype a whole group of people where, I think for some people that's really tough. And for other people that can also be a beautiful thing if it's just like generational history and community and all that. But the collective sadness, I mean, I've absolutely felt that in certain places I've gone.
I feel like when you tour as a DJ, and this is no slight to any small town that I ever play in, I love playing the small towns, and I love bringing water spirit to people that typically wouldn't get a kind of show like that. I have been to some cities where the vibe of the fans was like, oh my God, take me with you, get me out of here. And I'm like, oh, or they're like, I'm so sorry you had to come here. And I'm like, I'm here to have a good time. Like, can't we just like have a cool night and not be like, people are like, I'm so sorry you have to be here. Like,
right. I've gotten that too. And yeah, it's almost like you feel like you're like an old school adventurer or something, and people are like, tell me tales of the lands far off.
Yeah, I've literally had a person from my hometown when I was talking. I moved back to my hometown for like a month just to like kind of recenter myself before moving to LA. I remember talking to one of my friends from high school, and I told her that I was moving, and she was like, "Take me with you. I'm serious." And I'm like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, that's trouble when you're like a person's only escape, you know?
I feel like it a lot of times. I'm like, oh shit. But I think one of the smartest things you can do, especially in your 20s, is like learning how to move across country or across states and being like mobile, because a lot of people, if you haven't moved in a really long time, it feels like you're dying. The idea of moving feels like you're leaving your entire life behind and everything's going to change. But then you move once and you're like, oh no, I can go wherever I want, like, and exist there fine. Like,
yeah, you're right. It's super important. And it's so easy to get stuck in a place and to get complacent or to just let inertia kind of take over. That's super dangerous, I think, for anybody, not just for creative stuff, but really for life stuff. But wait, how long did you, or how long ago did you move to LA?
About 5 months ago at this point.
Oh, so it's still pretty new.
Yeah, I'm still learning the geography of things. People constantly are like, oh, I live on this street. And I'm like, that means nothing to me. You got it.
Well, that's cool. What prompted the move? Just wanted to be closer to the industry kind of thing?
So this sucks, actually, like kind of the reasons for moving, but a lot of laws were happening in Florida for trans people that were like, basically, it was kind of a red flag to get out. And all of my friends, like my massive community of people in Orlando, all of a sudden it was like everyone's moving.
Yeah.
So all of my friends either moved to New York, and then I had some friends out in LA, and it was just a matter of time before one of them was like, hey, I have a room here. It's cheap rent and it's a really nice place. Can you get here next month? And I'm like, yeah, like, let's do it.
Because you're mobile. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm mobile. I can move.
Right.
If anything. And, so yeah, LA came first, and it already lined up really perfectly with like, I was just then like getting on an agency for the first time. And it was like, you know, moving to LA is maybe one of the best things you can do as like an EDM artist in terms of just amount of shows and being able to fly to a lot of places that have bigger shows. Cause I was already flying to LA, like, I don't know, like 5 times a year to play shows. So it was like, yeah, I can move there. And then, yeah, I just knew I wanted to move to New York or LA, and LA knocked first. So
that makes sense. Yeah. And yeah, that's, I should have assumed actually that it was the Florida of it all that was the driving factor.
Yeah, it sucks because I do like Florida. I love the South. Like, it's where I was born and raised. You know, there's a bit of like some not smart like thinking from some like smaller, more closed off communities, but like, you know, generally like my experience in Orlando was only positive. And you know, I do love that place.
Yeah, no, it's tough on so many vectors that way, because I mean, I think, any touring artist, once you go around the country enough and realize that like, oh, there's something cool about almost every place, and there's something to like, and there's good people in almost every place. Not every place, but almost. and the South is one of those that gets painted with sort of this like, you know, monochromatic brush of just like, it's this one thing, when, the reality is that the people in those cities have been gaslit and abused by the people in power for a long time. And the conservative, like centers of power have just consolidated that power for so long over so many years that now they can really do all this horrific shit. And the people just sort of accept it or don't fight it because it's kind of been the vibe for so long. But then the actual individuals living there are not a monoculture, right? And it's such a fucking bummer. It's just like, because you're not the first trans person I've talked to who has made a move like that in the last year or two. I worry about the people who aren't able to get out too, you know?
Yeah, I have a handful of friends who are still there that I talk to very frequently. And while I'm like, oh my God, I really hope things get better, I think the worrier in me is like, oh God, get out now. But like, at the same time, I do feel like the hysteria online and stuff like that is a lot worse than people because like I have friends that like are like when I lived in Orlando, they were like, oh, I want to hang out with you, but I'll never travel to Florida. And I'm like, no one's going to beat you up outside of the airport.
Right.
Like, it's still chill. People are the same. The places are different and the people in power are different, but people are the same. And generally, like even the most Southern conservative guy in Georgia and Florida, they see a trans person and they're like, I don't like that. And they keep going on with their day. Like, it's not, and maybe I've been fortunate to experience people that are just kind of by the, like doing their own thing, don't really care if they do have a problem with me, but
yeah, I mean, I think both things can be true as well. I mean, there's no question that you are correct that online hysteria is not real life, right? And that is a thing that I think infects everybody to a certain extent. And it's a thing we all need to remind ourselves is not actually real, and not to believe what we see or what we read for the most part as a general rule on the internet. But then, the people in power do have real shitty agendas, and they are, if they had their way, things maybe would match up from the online. And so, anyone who feels unsafe, anyone who's thinking about getting out, man, all I can really do is just support it, right? Because it's like, who's to say? Like, I don't think it's that bad everywhere, but like at the same time, if there's even a small chance it could be that bad for an individual, then probably get out of there, right?
Yeah. I mean, Florida was the first place that I experienced like very firsthand, like what politicians and conservative people that were running my state like had the power to do, where it's like, oh, I just got a text message that my healthcare is canceled. Like, oh, I just got like a message that like, oh, I'm not allowed to like change my driver's license if I wanted to. Like and it's like real. It's like right at your front door. And I think that was like the wake up call of like, okay, while there is a degree of separation between what I read on the internet and what I experience in real life, sometimes it can get to you. Like physically, it can show up on your doorstep sometimes, and you have to be careful.
Yeah, and aware and prepared, hopefully. And it's scary shit out there. I don't know, but I mean, again, I will say it's heartening for me to hear you say that, you have not seen the online hysteria so much in the real world in your own experience. And to hear that, I mean, especially in the music scene, living out and proud and authentically yourself was actually part of like what's cool about the project and why it's working, right? I think that's a lesson anyone in any walk of life can take. Is like the more authentic you can be to your true self, the more it's going to come through, not only in the music, but like in the way people perceive the project overall, right?
Yeah. And I've had the most cool experience ever of being a kid, being like, oh my God, there's no trans women on any of these lineups. Like, is it even possible for a trans woman to do it? To hopefully being the person that is the trans person on the lineup, that a younger me would be like, it's possible. I can do this. I can exist here and no one's going to hate me.
It's so cool. And I mean, certainly I would say, and I'm not putting words in your mouth here, but my opinion is that I think, especially on the big festival level, we still have a ways to go as far as 100%. That goes.
100%. Yeah.
But
I still, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, please.
There are statistic like Instagrams and stuff like that being like how many women are booked for this thing, and there will be like massive lists of like over the last 10 years, here's all the women that have been booked for EDC. And then there's like a little green dot that's like trans woman. And it's like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
That sucks. I wish that wasn't the case. There are other people doing it on the same level as well. There's like Sizzy or like Van Fleet and Honey Dijon and all these like amazing creators. But it's like it's so little of us that it's like, I can count all of us on one hand.
Totally. Yeah. Like we can sit here and name everybody, which is great. Yeah. Like Eris Drew and Octa and like, Also, let's take note that like pretty much everyone we named, including you, it's like the coolest shit, like all the best music. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's not a coincidence that that's also the case, at least as far as I'm concerned.
I think a queer perspective is necessary in any genre or any type of art ever. Like it doesn't exist without the full spectrum of human identity.
Well, yeah, and let's not forget the origins of dance music either,
for sure.
It doesn't exist strong, at all. Right, extremely strong queer roots. And it's, it's one of those things that, got obscured as time went on and money comes in, and it is one of those things. Yeah. Do you follow that? I think it's Book More Women on Instagram, where they do the festival flyer, and then you flip the slide and they eliminate all of the men, and it's like
and it's like dots. 3 people. Yeah. It's so sad. I hate it, but I mean, it's important to highlight. And
yeah, totally.
When you talk to people in the industry, it's nobody's fault. I don't really think there's a person in there that's like, yeah, I'm trying to book more men or something. But it is just like generally how life has been structured, especially in America, that it's like, you know, it's the hierarchy.
It's reflective of society at large, right? I mean, it's not a problem only in the music scene, but it is a problem that to me pisses me off more, because the music scene, like, we're supposed to be cooler than that, right? And the reality is that the music industry is not cooler than that at all.
Yeah, I mean, we're all under the same industry. We're all under the same capitalist situation, so it's we're all gonna
That's exactly right. Well, I mean, for you, I want to ask this in a more interesting way than like, what do you got coming up? But like, what are you doing right now? Because I've noted, I mean, I love all the new singles you put out. All the new music this year has been really good. That Frost Kick track, I think, is my favorite recent one of yours. But they're all good, and they're all interesting and different and varied. I guess the question is like, do you have a vision for what comes next for the Water Spirit project? Is there something in particular you're working on?
Yeah. So I'm putting together like an EP right now that's mainly hard techno, and kind of diving into something a little more melodic and a little less aggro. Like, I like matching up like the melodic sweet stuff with the super aggro stuff, but it's very rare for me to actually like lay the aggro stuff and melodic stuff on top of each other during a drop. So it's more that kind of thing, and I hope people will like it. I also just released with TDJ on her SPF Infinite like label and stuff like that today. So that's out. And then other than that, it's just like more shows, more visual stuff, and getting a lot of what I have in the vault out.
I love it. Yeah. Do you have a bunch of shows coming up, or, you know,
a lot of LA shows?
A lot of LA shows. Yeah.
A lot of LA shows. Thankfully, I'm kind of done with some of the major flights this year. I've been flying around like crazy, and it's been super awesome being in towns that I normally, you know, haven't played to. But have my legs grown a little weary of being on a plane? Absolutely.
Yeah, it takes a toll.
I mean, I love it. I genuinely love doing it. It's just also like, God, it messes with my sleep too much. Like, I'm like, I don't know where I am, when I am, like what's going on. I just know in an hour I have a show to play.
Yeah. I mean, what I always say is it's this paradoxical thing of that. I think being around the music and the culture and being in the clubs, it keeps you young spiritually, but it ages you physically. You know?
Oh yeah.
Like, it's tough.
So I'm taking like the rest of the year just to kind of like rebuild my mental state and also rebuild myself like physically. So that when I do kick it back into gear around like Q1 next year, that I'll be like ready to go full force at it.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's the way to do it, is kind of have different seasons for yourself. And it's funny what you were saying too. I talked to Lee Must Die about that stuff a lot, because, you know, I think he's always had a conflicted relationship with the travel to get to the shows and the overall nature of like balancing out doing the shit we like to do with the shit we have to do to get to the shit we'd like to do, you know?
I think he and I align on a lot of views, especially when it comes to the music industry. And I do think that he's one of my favorite people on this earth, and also like the person that I go to the most for like, okay, like travel's being kind of hard right now. Like, there's a lot of turbulence. I'm freaking out. Like, and he's like, Gigi, I've done this forever. You're fine. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Right.
Thanks, Lee.
No, he's absolutely one of my favorite people too. I love him. And also, I mean, you reached out to me separately, but like, yeah, I'm grateful that he sort of connected us for this too. Cause it's another thing he does that I appreciate, is, you know, putting people together.
Yeah. He's been always the most lovely person, one of the most cool people that I've met in this stuff. It's been like the people that I've really like like put me on the map for stuff has been like Must Die, Sudden Death, and Lil Texas, and they are all incredible guys that I can only show my support to.
Yeah, I like all three of those people quite a lot. Do you think you and Lee connected too? Because he's a Southern kid originally.
Yeah, because he's also lived in Georgia as well, and he's also like just the same type of nerd as me. Maybe a little more music brained than I am, but he's certainly the same level of creative and the same level of like really caring about the art side of it.
100%. Yeah, he's very uncompromising. I mean, yeah, his music brain is insane. He's one of those guys where, I mean, he sent me like a full black metal song that he had written and recorded and sung and played guitar on. And like this whole, and it was like as good as a lot of black metal that I listened to from like legit bands. And I was just like, dude, what are you doing? You could do a whole separate career with this. And, you know, for him, it's just like, it's just what I felt like making today, you know?
He's incredible. I actually had a really funny exchange with him recently where like I landed in Seattle and he was like taking me to his house so we could just like chill before the show or whatever. And for some reason, the highway was shut down. So it took like 2 hours to get to his house. And the entire time we were just talking about music until it got on the subject of like hair metal. And I am not a fan of hair metal, but he's like, no, you don't understand. So we listened to like 2 hours of like Def Leppard in the car. And I think by the end of it, he was like, do you get it? And I'm like, sort of. Like, I guess.
Yeah, if he senses that you're not on the level, he will go in. He did that to me with the band Ghost.
Oh, in the same car ride, he loves
because he's like a super fan of Ghost, and I like Ghost, but I wouldn't call myself a super fan. And I feel like when he and I were talking about it, I was not reacting appropriately, like strongly. And then he was like, "Okay, here's your homework," you know.
He does give me a ton of music homework, which I am always thankful for. And he put me on to like Kate Bush really hard, so I love Kate Bush.
Oh, that rules! Yeah, and I mean it's a two-way street. I send him stuff all the time too, but. Yeah, I love that, man. And that's another part. I love people who do that, probably because I'm a person who does that, of just like, if you get excited about something, there's like a need to share it, you know?
Oh, yeah. Sharing art with people that appreciate it is one of the best human experiences possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's such a nice, simple way to put it. But yeah, I just thought about it for a second. That's right. That's kind of what it's all about.
Yeah, for sure. I love when somebody's like, oh, I haven't listened to like this. And then I'm like, okay, we're going to shut up for like an hour, listen to this all the way through. And then I will pause occasionally to like tell you little tidbits about it. And then that's how we're going to spend this next hour. And if you don't like it, we're not friends anymore. So, you know.
Right. Yeah. It can be a bit of a litmus test too. But yeah, no, you're
only
right.
for certain artists. There's very little artists in my life that I'm like, I think Sophie is one of those artists where I'm like, okay, if you don't like Sophie, I still like you. You're still my friend, but like, get it together. You know?
Right.
Like, figure it out.
If you can't figure out how to appreciate this, then yeah, we have like a basic disconnect. That's really nice. Yeah, you just made me feel good because you're right. That's like part of it for me too.
I mean, that's what DJing is, right? You're sharing it to the crowd.
Totally. And it's, at least for me, I know not all producers feel this way. I get equal amounts of validation, whether it's sharing my art that I feel strongly about or just sharing any art that I feel strongly about, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Hearing the reaction of somebody genuinely like, wow, you just showed me this thing that is incredible is like, that's the coolest thing. Like, I don't know.
I think it's acknowledging, this is getting a little woo-woo, but I think it's acknowledging too that like for a second, maybe we're sharing the same reality, you know? Because I think, sure, you know, everybody has their own reality. Everybody perceives the world slightly differently. But then when you find those moments of connection where it's like, so you're seeing what I'm seeing, right? And it's like, we can agree that this is insane. There's like, there's some kind of, for a second, you like merge worlds with somebody.
Yeah, I think also just like being backstage while one of your friends is playing and like they're killing it. And then you look to your right and another friend of your guys is like also looking at you being like, what the fuck is wrong with this person? Like that is like sharing that experience is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Same in the crowd too. Like crowd people also turn to each other, grab each other, like shake each other when stuff's happening. Like that's awesome. That's like so sick.
It's the best. I love it. Yeah. And it's it's breaking it down. It's like beyond words too, which is really nice, where it's just like, yeah, it's this unspoken existence feeling that just we're feeling at the same time for a second. And yeah, there's something really bonding and something really human about that. That's nice. Yeah, I didn't know we were going to get there. That's a nice little note to wrap it up on. I mean, is there anything we haven't talked about? Anything else on your mind or you want to get out there?
No, honestly, I feel like we kind of did the whole song and dance about it. It's been a really good conversation, though. I haven't thought about some of this stuff in a while.
Oh, that's awesome. No, this has been fantastic. I really, really, really appreciate you taking the time to do it. And yeah, I mean, I really love your music. So please keep pushing it. Yeah, absolutely. I hadn't recorded one of these in for me, a long time. It was like almost a month and a half. So I was a little worried about how I was going to be. So thank you for being awesome and very interesting and easy to talk to.
Yeah, same to you. I honestly, when we started talking, I was like, is the podcast started? I don't know. We're just,
I felt about 10 minutes in, I felt bad for a second because I was like, oh, right. I didn't really give an intro or we just kind of launched into this. So thank you for rolling with that too, because I just sort of forgot.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I don't know if I should be drinking Red Bull right now in the middle of the conversation.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah. I mean, I was drinking coffee, then I switched to water and I've got a third beverage here. So
hell yeah.
You're all good. But yeah, thank you again. This ruled.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. My whole team, when I told them I was doing the podcast, they were really hyped about it. So
that's awesome. Cool. Hell yeah. I'm extremely excited about it. So yeah, thank you. That's it. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
All right. Take care. Bye.